I'm Michael,
And I'm Drew.
and this is the Outward Realm podcast, and we are back for the beginning of our April. This is the first April podcast. I assume it will come out in that time frame, though we did have some technical issues with the last couple episodes, which have now been corrected, and we're bringing them in. Although they came in a little bit late, we got the audio mostly cleaned up, and future episodes shouldn't have that problem. So hopefully we can get back on track. How are you doing, Drew?
I'm doing great, man. I've been hobbying and tournamenting and trying to paint in between life. How about yourself?
Hey, I've been doing all the stuff to keep the ship on course. I haven't been
Excellent.
doing a ton of term. I played a little bit of 40K, a little bit of Crisis Protocol, and then of course the Arizona Game Fair, which
Ooh,
was exciting. That was an OR event that happened in Mesa, Arizona, which is just outside of Phoenix. We had It's where the Scorched Earth Open took place for 40K, and the actual game fair itself, where we had a booth the whole entire time that it was there. Basically, we left a little bit early on Sunday, but aside from that, it was
perfect.
operational. Yeah, it was really cool. It was completely full size. We had a bunch of board gamers come through, a little bit of 40K rolled on in, and we gave a lot of demos.
Excellent. How do people like it out there?
They were enjoying it. The consensus was from the board game side that they liked that it was easier to get into than something like a 40K,
Sure.
and that I don't know, it seems like they grasp the rules pretty fast because these are, they're game
Nice.
players, so
Of
that was
course.
nice. Also, didn't know this, but we had some people buy models for 2 other things, which are not OR. They bought them
What?
one person bought some for Gamma World. They bought
Okay.
Hexagonid used as irradiated creatures.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I thought that was neat, and then, yeah, n Flame Hexapod is the new Rad Scorpion.
Yep.
And then we have some people who bought it for a, like a miniatures agnostic science fiction game. I'm
Wow.
struggling to remember it wasn't like, I know it wasn't Stargrave or
Sure.
1 Minute War or whatever that is, like, but it was something
Absolutely.
like that. And they bought the realm for that as like science fiction soldiers. So
They do look like that, and that's another interesting aspect that, I don't think many people talk about is a lot of people just buy the miniatures to, like, paint them, and because they look
yeah.
cool, right? Like, and,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
the game a lot of the times for people like this, at least from my experience, the game is secondary, like, the gameplay and the strategy and all that, but usually when you're sitting there and you're like, "Oh, man, I got a pretty large collection of these guys. Maybe I should start doing something with them," and
Hey, and
there's the
I've
introduction.
specifically had painters buy the models just to paint,
Oh, it's
so
so
that has
cool.
happened. Yeah, I
Excellent.
mean, and I think that's any miniatures line. If you
Yes.
get people interested, they're just gonna that's
Yep.
some percentage of people,
Absolutely.
and we welcome them as well. I really like seeing those nicely painted models on the hobby channel in our Discord.
Absolutely. There's something uh, like growing up, I always wanted those models and I could never do it. And seeing them, like it gives me the was it the endorphins to like, yes, I want to keep going. Like
The dopamine rush.
the dopamine rush. Yes, exactly. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that was it. The dopamine. That's what I was thinking of. So yeah.
Yeah, it's been great, and your stuff is looking really good on there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm putting some stuff together right now. So
Yeah,
good stuff. Do you want to see it? I mean, I know you can't.
yeah,
I've already
yeah. I
shown
mean,
it to.
hey.
Let me see if I can like get it to
Oh, look, everybody. You
looking
got a
good.
worker swarm right there. It looks
Yeah.
great. I really like that
Thank you.
cracked basing too.
It it's expensive stuff from GW, and I know there's cheaper things out there, but I was like, I gotta do the whole army has to be like that after I did the first 2 bases, so yeah,
Yeah,
there it is.
absolutely. Well, it looks great. The cracked scorched earth look is fantastic.
Mhm, mhm.
So I'm gonna bring up Acta a little bit because it's been a while since we talked about it.
Absolutely.
So we are hard at work doing two factions simultaneously.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, so we've sort of doubled the amount that we're getting done right now, and I'm hoping, I would say right now we're about between 2 and 3 months behind. I think that that will help bring us back up to speed. As soon as the Botra will be the next released faction, as soon
Sure.
as the Botra are ready, we will update the TTS with that, and it has
Excellent.
the new public beta rules for it will be a really big push. Um,
Excellent.
so the current scoring system was a placeholder, and it's basically only kill points, right?
Okay. Sure.
The new scoring system has additional objectives and mission-based objectives and double the number of missions.
That is I don't know if I mentioned it before, but X-Wing just went to scenarios and, like, objectives and stuff,
Oh,
which is
wow.
which is huge for that game, and I love
Yeah.
it, and I'm super glad to hear that, Acta's getting something like that too.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
killing stuff is fun, but at the same time, you're trying to save people or, like, take some cargo, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's
It's hard to tell a story where it's always blow something up, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm glad
Yeah.
I know you don't play anymore, but yes, the so
Well, I'm moving different spaceships on the table these days. So,
absolutely, absolutely.
but yeah, I want to let everyone know that Acta is still deeply in progress and that the Botra update is like probably the biggest update we've released since we launched the game. So
Sure.
it's really, really worth having a look at when the time comes.
Taking it excellent, excellent. And
And
that'll
we
be
are still planning to launch the Kickstarter this year. So
oh, perfect. And everything will be on the Discord, right? The
100%.
announcements, you'll toss it
Yep.
on there? Excellent.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Perfect.
I'll probably even make a post on the main site as well.
Oh,
So
perfect. Excellent.
yeah, absolutely. And so for the lore portion, this is actually really covered in the core rulebook, but I'll just touch on it so that we have some idea of that for folks who don't have that yet or haven't dug through the site's many
R
articles.
right.
Hey, it's a lot. I get it.
It you know what? I gotta be honest with you, I started to do it, and then I dropped off because I was like, "Oh my god, there's so much." So but anyways, yes, no, please tell us, tell us.
Yeah, so we got the houses of the realm, and we've got the six major houses, the minor houses, and the charterless houses.
Okay.
So the six major houses, and this is me doing it from memory, so everyone gets to make fun of me as my ancient brain tries to process, but um, I'm gonna do this from memory. So if I get it wrong when the core rulebook comes out, people can make fun of me that I don't know my own thing.
I
But
mean,
I think I will get it right.
no, it's your story, right? Like, you could have
Yeah,
everything. That's the yep, yep.
yeah. So we've got the major house, well, Barrington. That's medical. They're based off of a university originally that funded their own seed ship and went out into space. They have extremely good education, extremely good medical technology. So that's reflected in the rules with those medical packs that they give, so that their infantry can uh, can repair, can heal some damage right during the game,
Okay,
representing that really high end medical technology. I
absolutely.
also think their color scheme is pretty cool, and the sub faction color schemes.
What is their subfaction color scheme?
It's kind of greenish, purple, silver.
Ooh, okay, I was gonna say you have some painted like that, right?
Well, we have one painted
Wave
like that.
1, yeah,
Yeah,
I've s yeah,
yeah.
I remember the one I remember the
One
1
soldier.
miniature, yep, I was like, "Okay, that's that those that's, okay, cool, cool, cool."
Yeah, House Barrington's neat. And then you've got your House Ahmed. They are very agriculturally focused, so they're kind of the breadbasket of the realm. Their agri-science is extremely good, and they have a great color scheme too. That uh, tan, white, and brown and red.
I love that color scheme.
Yeah,
I absolutely
it's
love it.
it's
Yeah,
super cool.
it's perfect, it's perfect.
And they have a really unique rule. They have one of the very few close combat rerolls in the game.
Oh, interesting, okay, so do they, like,
Yeah.
shove bread in their enemies' mouths as they're fighting, like,
No,
"Roar!"
no, they really, really lean into exosuits. And
Oh, okay.
so yeah, and so they have the reroll ones to hit for exosuits for close combat.
Excellent, excellent. I was gonna make
Yeah.
another I was gonna make a healing joke where they also heal because they just sit there and, like, stuff their faces
Just stuff their face with
behind the rock.
corn,
Yep, exactly,
just endless
exactly.
corn. No, not quite, but I do like that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
Corn cannon,
cord
new
ca
weapon.
Yep, Yep, yep. Not chaos,
Co
not
no, no,
chaos for
no.
anyone.
No, 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 Cobb Cannon.
Cobb
There's no
there it
confusion.
is. Yep,
No
absolutely.
confusion. Alright.
Cool. Alright, so what's the
So
next one?
you got Ahmed, you've got House Manon. These are, founded by an engineering group. They make the best spaceships in the realm. Their shipyards are the best, and reflected in their ability to manufacture vehicles in the game, they, can repair their vehicles incrementally throughout the battle.
Wow.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
that's in the sub-faction rules, and yeah, it's pretty nice. They're skirmishers and they're constructs, so pretty cool.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a big one too, because like the exosuits, their vehicles, right? Or they're
They're
constructs.
skirmishers, so
Skirmishers, got it. So
they
they're
can
not
get repaired.
okay, okay.
Yeah, Manon's doing the infantry and heavy infantry,
Mhm.
and then or no, I'm sorry, Barrington's doing the infantry and heavy infantry, and then
Yes.
Manon is doing skirmishers and constructs. Yeah, MRF is the engineering group that they were founded from. So pretty neat. So we got three
Awesome.
down, and one I know I'll just get. So let me. Wusu, House of Wusu.
Woohoo.
Um, they are the smallest of the major houses. They were based off of a research group,
Okay.
so they're very science and research driven.
So
And
okay.
yep, what are you not saying
No,
there?
I'm thinking of the they research. So do you know the Japanese like ooh right like
Oh, the
meme?
joke gets
Yeah.
made on the
So that
Discord for sure.
okay,
Yeah.
because I was like they research memes and now they're the
The
they're the
meme
ooh
kings.
the meme kings
The
exactly.
meme king.
So they're the meme kings of the
It's actually based off an African surname.
really that is
Yeah.
amazing. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, now I feel racist. Holy crap. I'm so
No,
sorry.
no, it's
No,
okay.
that's awesome. So please tell me more about this research aspect of this
Yeah,
aware group.
they're basically the smallest. They do a lot of experimentation, a lot of research. They're it
Sure.
that's reflected with the rules
Okay.
because they're mag weapons. They use experimental ammunition, basically different slug
Wow.
designs and stuff. And so
Yeah.
you see a little bit of performance increase in the game. And their major house is the only major house that still has its founder alive because
Interesting.
Dr. Owusu's a crazy person.
Oh no.
And so what he did is he has been um, utilizing cold sleep technology, and he only wakes up every 50 years or so and pops out for a couple of weeks and checks on things and makes sure everything's going and then goes back to sleep.
So that's oh yes, not oh no.
Well, and it's interesting, right? Because that's a very odd mentality and a very odd way to live. But
Right.
yes, he's doing the thing.
That is super
He's
cool.
he's very slowly time traveling into the future. And they have a really big celebration whenever he pops out of the thing. I don't remember the exact increment of time, but it's like there's
Sure.
decades of time between it. I said
Oh,
50 years
absolutely.
flippantly, but
Right.
the book actually tells the correct number.
The
But
exact amount of time.
just know that it's actually, it's a long time between wake up. So,
That could make for some very interesting stories. It's like, "What
well,
is
yeah, I mean,
conflab kids? What are you doing?" Right?
but he
Like
was there. I mean, he remembers old Earth. He remembers the pre-unification. I
yep, yep,
mean,
yep.
he's like not aging anymore, really. So
Right. I think I met him
he's
once at the Starbucks just a
he's
couple
a
days ago.
spry old man. Yeah,
Yep.
still hanging tough. We've done 4 out of 6.
What are their faction abilities? Or do these guys have a faction ability?
They
Uh,
do. That's the
okay.
mag rail
Oh,
ammunition.
I'm so
So
sorry.
all
They
their
have
mag rail.
different yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm so
Yep.
sorry. I
You got and you have Manon and there's
okay.
someone else. Who am I forgetting?
Man, and is it
Um,
there's a main one, right?
we did Manon already. Oh no, we didn't do Manon. We
We didn't
didn't
do
do
Manon yet. Yep.
DeArgento. Actually, Manon is the engineers. That's MRF. So
Oh,
I got
okay.
that incorrect. House Manon is the one that does the engineering and spacecrafts. And
Okay.
then um you have DeArgento, which is the largest corporation in the realm, Omnisol, and they're a really weird house. They have a figurehead style prime minister figure
Sure.
who's definitely elected, but is like has no power at all. The Omnisol corporate council
Okay,
controls House DeArgento,
I
100%.
see. So House DeArgento is not actually a house, it's more like a building?
Right.
Because there's
It's
like a corporation? Or
yeah, I
okay,
mean, it's basically corporate controlled.
that's awesome. I mean,
And
awesome is in yeah, sorry, continue.
what's super weird is that Omnisol is not even headquartered in their space, though. They're headquartered outside of it to bypass some of the edicts restrictions.
Oh, I wonder that sounds familiar. Hmm.
Yeah, extraterritorial. Yeah, they're a strange house. But yeah, their Argento doesn't like call them military. They're Omnisol security forces, basically.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah, like it's all
Uh,
tied into Omnisol, and that's the biggest corporation in the realm, but
excellent.
by far.
By farm.
And they have the increased artillery firing because
Oh, oh!
they have copious amounts of disposable ammunition.
Yep, yep,
So
just like their disposable income. Hey.
that's right. Yep,
Yep,
they
yep.
they can afford to throw it away. So the rate of fire on their artillery weapons is higher.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah,
Excellent.
and so those are the major houses.
Okay.
You have the minor ones, which I won't go into in greater detail, but
Sure.
essentially they're smaller, they're pretty specialized. They definitely they definitely are powers in their own right. They can't stand up to a greater house or a major house, but they can hold their own. And then there's this weird thing called charterless houses. There
Okay.
are countless charterless houses. There's a ton of them. A charterless house could be as little as one planet, right?
Okay.
But it's usually not any bigger than a few star systems,
Makes sense because
right?
then at that point, you're, like, getting big enough to, like, actually
Yeah.
be noticed, right? So if you're charterless,
But
you gotta be
all
small.
but most of the charterless houses, like about two-thirds of them,
Okay.
three-fourths of them, exist within house space. So they exist at the whim of the house that they're in the space of.
Okay.
But they are
And
considered independent entities.
sure. And so for example, there was a gentleman, or actually, I don't know if it's a man or a woman. Someone on the Discord was asking, like, could I paint them in one scheme, but like have them be another house, right? Like, could I do this
House
or
Pineapple, I think it was, or House of
yeah,
Pineapples.
exactly. And so I like the charter list is a good way to be like
Yeah.
you can be under anyone you want, but have the abilities that you cherry pick for your faction, right? Of
Yeah,
what
and
what you your
you could
style of
either
play.
use an existing houses thing and call it your own, or
Yep.
we have the create your own house rules for making something custom.
Excellent. Yep, yep, yep. And every
Yeah.
army has that ability, right? Like,
Correct. Like
yeah,
we don't, and because not even all De Argento forces will operate the same. Like you could say that we're this, but we want to use these rules, so you can call yourself what you want, right?
sure,
It's totally reasonable to say that there's some, this general has really focused on, or this commander is really focused on this particular thing, and so
right.
these forces are oriented that way, right?
Yep. Cool. And so my question to you about these houses. Oh, wait, sorry. Do we have one more house, or are we
No,
done
no,
with the
we've
houses?
that's them. That's the
Sure, sure.
houses.
So my question to you is, how often do people or maybe like smaller factions or groups of these houses do they switch a lot? Does one guy
Not
be like, I'm more corporate than
well.
agricultural?
So
Like,
it's think of it like changing nationalities. So
ah,
it's
okay,
it's a big deal, right?
sure. Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep. Okay, bit long process, kind of tough to do, but okay,
Yeah, and
okay.
because the other how like you're going to a thing that, may not trust you, right?
Also true. Absolutely.
Are you a spy for your previous house? Like, I mean, it's going to be a harder life.
Yeah, maybe. And we went into that in one of the earlier episodes too about like the politics of like how the realm came to be
Yep.
and all the backstabbing that can happen and has happened and probably will happen, right? So okay, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they are definitely fighting over resources and territory, and they
Yeah, the whole kit
people
and caboodle.
remain people remain people. So
Sadly.
Exciting for the
Sorry.
game, though. Good for the
Excited. Yeah,
game.
exactly. Right, right. Confrontation. Yes. There we go.
You do need to have some conflict in a war game, I heard. I heard
Yep,
that's
yep, yep.
helpful. All right. And so those do you have any other questions about houses before we go into listener questions?
No, that's all right. I loved learning about the 5 houses in the one building.
The 6 the
Yeah,
the
this,
one building?
yeah, because it's the corporation, so it ain't no building, man. So no, that's great. Good stuff. Good stuff.
The okay, so listener questions, we have Finch of Fortune who asks, "What happens when a realm house, perhaps a minor house, is destroyed in house war? Are its augments and resources simply absorbed into the victorious house, or do these forces sometimes become independent contractors? I get the sense the military might of the houses leaves little room for mercenary business." That's a really good question. I like that question a lot. Uh, so a minor house going down would be a massive event because they're quite big. I think I think the in my head it's the major houses could take out any minor house, but there would be substantial ramifications, right?
Yeah, it's a backlash from it.
Well, it'd be huge, right? Like, and
Yep.
those people, like, what do you do with entire planets full of partisans? And like, it would be a huge, like, you'd have to have a very strong reason to dedicate. Plus, it's weakening you too, right? You go into all these
Yes.
battles, you're fighting all these things. Like, what are you not protecting? What are you not doing?
Yeah, and what are you leaving at home, right? If you
Sure.
go off
And
to
what if
fight.
two other major houses decide to come to that minor house's aid? Then you've
Yeah.
created a massive conflict, right?
Yep. Yep.
So, so that a minor house, no, a charterless house, 100%. Those can get eaten for sure. Yeah, the major house might do it. Another major house might do it. A minor house could do it. And there actually is quite a bit of mercenary behavior. So,
Wow. I'm assuming especially amongst the charterless houses, like mercenaries, right? Like,
sure. And
come
they're
to our
really
aid.
good because it's like, even though they might exist in a major house, it's like it's this charterless house. It's not the major house doing it, right? You have a little bit of plausible deniability.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. And so the mercenaries, it's interesting because an augment, they can't undo what they turn you into. It's not it is
Oh,
a
yeah.
it's a
You can't.
permanent process.
Yep.
So a
Yep.
lot and they let you keep your armor and your weapon. So a lot of augments turn to private work after it's done, right?
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. So like, you get your augmented your stronger right arm to hold that big gun that you've got. And then all of a sudden you're done fighting and you're like, I don't want my big arm anymore. And they're like, hey man, we can't.
We no take backsies.
No take backsies, exactly. That's
No,
at the
there's
bottom of the document before you sign away, no take
well,
backsies.
and the other issue is once you're out of the service, you actually still need maintenance and, medical
Yeah,
care
on
to
whatever you've had.
all the implants and everything to maintain all that equipment,
Yep,
and thus, you need money to pay for that, and so you better you better do the thing, right?
absolutely, absolutely.
Or you're stuck, at one of their care places, like the large, really big capital cities and such will have, you know, medical care advanced
Sure.
enough to just take care of you, but then you're stuck in that city, as it were, right?
Right, you're tied to wherever the medication is
Yeah.
that you need.
Well,
Okay.
it's implants and medication and like
Yes.
really advanced,
Mhm.
stuff. There is a component of it that is like this is classified, technology to
Oh, of
some extent.
course.
I mean,
Yep, yep, yep.
not really because you can get it on the black market and stuff, but like, they try to like, they don't want every single
That's a
person to just be able to grab this.
Yeah, that's an interesting story though. Like, are there spies in some of these groups, right? Like, oh, this
Well, and I
there's
mean,
this
you
vet
can
with this like augmented thing. Like, oh, I want to see.
yeah, I mean, you can
Interesting.
add more implants too, which is interesting because the fusion
Okay.
battery is the largest power producing implant of the ones you can get, and
Okay.
so it actually has overflow because
Oh
it is
wow.
designed to help power the suit. Augment armor doesn't work unless you have a fusion battery,
Got it.
and the fusion battery is inside you. So
Oh, hey, you are the few.
yeah, you're essentially the battery, but you have enough
Excellent.
extra left over that you could run other implants. So it's kind of interesting.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I will talk about that more in the next podcast episode because that's related to something else. Um,
Interesting. Okay.
getting
Oh,
people, looping people in,
yep,
getting
yep.
involved. Corvid asks, "What is religion like in both the realm and the Botra clans?" So in the realm, it is all the religions that would leave Earth, all the things that you'd expect, plus the biggest religion, which is an offshoot of Christianity, called the Church of Braid. And they're very big, they're very powerful. The main reason they're powerful is because they are the ones that qualify braided nobility, which are the only people which are allowed to become the sovereign.
Okay.
So,
Oh, well, hey, there you go. And
yeah.
they also, I thought you were gonna say it's because they have maces at the end of their braids, so when they turn around,
Yeah, I
they
mean,
smack you.
yeah, they just smack you with their hair
Excellent.
weapons.
Okay.
100%. Yeah, true. Big true. And for the Batra, so they have a spiritual path uh type religion that they go on. Uh,
Okay.
uh but that's their main core one. But they also have a bunch of offshoot you tend to see it at the clutch level. So
Okay.
like that 100 or so Botran family members
Right.
may choose to adopt something as a clutch, right? Or have
Yep.
their own rituals. They have their own thing that they're doing, right? Or modifications to existing rituals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because playing against them in game, their religion to me seems to be stab you rip stab stab because
You
that's
know what? That's a cultural piece, and yeah,
oh,
they're
there you go.
very they're
Yeah.
very driven towards that.
Yep. Very hoppity on a Wednesdays
Something
especially.
something
For
something about property. Yeah,
yep, yep.
absolutely.
Exactly. Very nice,
W-
very nice. Okay.
Wichita asks, "What is the average life for a Batra clanner?" Well, they live a long time, hundreds of years, and they're expected to change and drift around and do different things. That the way we get kind of interested in a hobby is something that they might do for 5 or 10 years. So it's just a difference of like scale.
Sure.
Like, oh, like I wanna this I heard from my clutch mate that mining was kind of an interesting thing to do, and I don't mind the hard work, and I'm in between things
Jobs.
that I'm doing.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and it's not really a job. If you get assigned to something, you get assigned
Sure.
by your clan leadership, right? If they
Sure.
really need something, they'll tell you to go do it. But
Ah, okay.
mostly they try to be hands off. That's like a wartime deal.
Yeah. Yep, makes sense. 'Cause I'm in
Yeah.
I'm in between stabbing people and cloaking, so I'll just
Well, yeah, and being a
go and do this.
warrior, you might go back and forth on that. You might do 10 years on, 20 years off, 10 years on, 20 years off. Like you might come back and forth to it a lot, right?
That's so
Uh,
cool. That's
yeah, and
yeah.
they'll go and do something else and they'll go back in and because they retain combat capability for a couple hundred years. So,
Sure. Right,
the
right, right.
and being changing your mind is not looked down upon,
Okay, okay.
right?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, that's almost any model in the game, right? You play a game for 40 minutes to an hour, and then you spend a week off, and then you come back on and you play another game.
Yeah,
So the joke, I get a strike. That was a bad that was a
get
bad
a
joke. That was a
strike.
that was a bad joke.
One hair mace whipping for you.
Yep, exactly, exactly. Oh, man. Okay, okay.
But I would say average. I've thought a lot about kind of what they do, and I see it as sort of a simpler kind of life. Live close to the work that you're doing. Um, you know, things that are important are hanging out with your friends, your clutch mates, your family. Um, eating some food, doing those
Yeah.
types of things, right?
Yep.
But not big on materials, not big on ownership. A Botran at the end of their life might own a duffel bag worth of stuff. That's important to them. And then when they die, they give that to their clutch mates or to the clan. So, you know,
So that's where all the stuff is, right? Like, you get onto the Batra ship and they're like, "All right, and we've this clan has been around for, like, thousands of years, and it's like, "Oh, what's in that room?" And it's like, "Oh, that's all the stuff from all the botra that have died and, like, passed away," and it's just, like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't even
mountains of
assume they would
clutter.
keep it, right? They might
Oh, of
dispose of it. They
course.
might they
Yeah.
might,
Yep.
destroy it. Maybe if you have something that's really special, they might hang on to it, but for they treat owning a thing as a responsibility, and they don't like the
To
tether,
Yep,
right?
yep. It's a lot of weight
So
on them.
well, it is, and yeah, they most Botrans there are weird Botrans who actually want to accumulate material things, right?
Sure.
And they tend to lean into roles where that's a benefit, right?
Okay,
Like the quartermaster of a Botran clan, right?
okay,
You that is a person who wants to get as much stuff for the clan as possible. That's a
okay.
great mentality for that person to have, but they would be considered unusual,
Right.
right?
A
And
black
they
sheep.
themselves aren't owning it, right? But they're getting it for the clan and they want to get more,
Oh, I
right?
see. I see what you're saying. Okay, okay.
So
Yeah.
you would lean into a role like that, or like you could have like a mining foreman, right?
Right.
You want that person to have as high quota possible. They're trying to accumulate as much as they can, right?
Mhm.
It's going to the clan, but they still get the feeling of accomplishment of getting it, right? So there is room for that mentality, but it's kind of focused into, you know, it's not them owning a thing, right?
Right. It's the clan
But
for
it's
for the clan.
collecting, accumulating, that sort of stuff.
Yes.
But for them, I would say a majority of them are just doing their thing. They have a little bit of stuff that they bring around, and it helps when you travel light too. Like if you want to change your mind about something, you want to just suddenly go off world and go to a place, like
Perfect.
you could just leave in an hour,
Yep.
right?
Because you have nothing. It's you, right?
Yeah,
Like,
just throw it all in your container and go.
yep, yep, yep.
Like,
So you'll very rarely ever have a Batra do the Marge Simpson, right? I just think they're neat, right? Like,
right,
it's like, yeah.
exactly.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, okay.
I think that's a decent answer. Fitch of
Yeah,
Fortune says, "What sort of augmentation do soldiers undergo?" This is talked about in the core rulebook and talked about in one of the articles, but effectively,
we also did a podcast on it too, where we talked about
y-
specifically. But yes, please tell us.
yeah, we did go over it specifically. Um, this is also in reference to the next episode as well, so another little sneak preview.
Oh, okay,
But
okay.
the gamified version of things is I have it written down as companion shard, which is something that most realm citizens have.
Sure.
A quantum ansible, most realm citizens have that. That's a reminder that that's like a communication device.
Yep,
So,
kinda like what
yep,
we got, right? Like some sort of
yep.
thing. Okay, okay.
But
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 smaller and, like, it's in my brain
but it's
instead of,
implanted.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
yep, yep.
it's data communication at
Excellent.
relativistic speeds. So light
I'm
speed,
just I'm
right?
just thinking of Brent Spiner's head in my head, right?
Sure.
Like,
So
data.
if we opened up, if we moved the hair mace and we looked underneath there, there'd be
There it
lots
is,
of
yeah.
green and red blinking lights.
Yep,
Perfect.
exactly, exactly.
Perfect. The fusion battery, right, that powers all this nonsense,
Yep.
and the augment suit. Nerve sheaths, which are the less invasive nerve
Whoa.
enhancement,
Okay.
so that helps speed them up, increases their ability to react, increases their speed. Polymerized musculature, which is a artificial fibers injected into your muscles to help them heal and be stronger and stay stronger. The tactical module, which is the piece that allows the AI to contribute to combat, right? Help you out.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
the subdermal weave, which is um, a ceramic plastic weave that's underneath their skin that acts as another layer of armor, right? So
Sure.
that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm walking in, I could just see this, like, 10-year-old kid walking into the medical clinic being like, "Give me the works." And he's got,
Give me the
like,
works.
"Give me the works." Yeah, and he walks out looking like, Chris Evans, right? Like, oh, man.
Looking like John Cena.
Yeah, looking like John Cena, exactly. W
Perfect.
but without the Peacemaker helmet, right? Like
Not the toilet bowl.
Yes, exactly, 100%. That's
Yeah,
cool,
that's
though.
those are the core augmentations.
Okay, okay.
Amaru asks, what kind of television programming is in realm space? Is it confined to planets, solar systems, interplanetary? Okay, and there's more to this question, but let me answer that part first. There are 100% shows in the realm space. They are exactly what you think. There's ones that are system based, right? They stay
Okay.
there local,
Okay.
and then there's ones that get transmitted out. By transmitted, I mean by messenger guild ship, right?
Okay.
They're saved into messenger guild ships and then propagated throughout the realm.
Got it.
So it will take, a year or two for things to push out, but because of the sustain, it'd be about the right amount, right? Like,
Okay.
oh, you might get a new episode per month, right? Instead of every week.
Yep, yep, yep. It's very similar to,
But
like, kind of what we have, right? Like, different countries get different episodes
yeah,
first, but, of course, we're also on one
well,
planet,
if you're
so it
closer
takes
to, you're gonna get
yes.
it quicker.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep, yep, absolutely.
absolutely.
Cool.
And
Do they
they
have
relay this. Oh, go
sorry,
ahead.
no, no, keep going. Do they have telenovas?
Oh, I'm
Drama,
sure.
right? Yeah!
Yeah,
All
I
the
mean, all of it.
dramas. Yep, yep,
All of
yep.
it. Yeah, 100%.
Amazing. Very exciting. I wanna
Uh,
see
and
that, I wanna see that.
in a similar vein, how do communications happen across a huge distance? That's the messenger guild, right? It's those messenger guild ships that stop at in the solar systems that have golden
Perfect.
worlds and other ones
Okay.
too, but mostly those. That's the mail route, right?
Sure.
And they go to those perimeter stations, which act as a cache, right?
Okay.
So they're doing a constant light speed communication between whatever inhabited stations and worlds are in that station in that solar system to themselves. That takes hours, right? This is light speed communication,
Absolutely.
right?
Yep,
Might take a
yep.
day, whatever it is, right? Whatever the amount of time is, and um, they cache it, and then the messenger guild ships come, perform a data swap, continue their jumps, right?
Sure, sure. Also not fun to play in game because they say, "Please stop," and then they telephone, "Hey, we need help," and that's what they do, right? Like
Not big on shooting. Their ships don't have guns, so
oh, interesting. Okay, so they do so the Messenger Guild really just sticks to
yeah,
messaging, right? Like,
yep.
they stay inside the realm, and, my question to you about the Messenger Guild is, if there is some sort of war going on, do they, like, play both sides to send communications from both, realm factions, like, fighting against each other?
No,
Or
they're not like
sure.
Comstar and BattleTech.
Okay,
They're
okay.
not making people kill each other.
Yep.
They're actually, quite neutral, but the houses all have their own version of Messenger Guild that operates just within their space.
I see. Okay, there you go. Got
Yeah,
it.
and that's how they do their secure communications.
Sure,
Yeah, because while of course, the Messenger Guild says that everything's highly encrypted and cannot be broken.
sure.
Yeah,
Okay. Interesting. That's really cool.
yeah, and they said across house lines, coming from a BattleTech perspective, I think about the Com Guard, aka Space AT&T, anything like that. Noir, that's definitely the Messenger Guild. Great question, as always, from Amaru. Wichita says, "Are there blood sports?" Which I thought was a good follow up for the show question.
Sure. Are we
A
talking like
hundred,
blood? Are we talking Blood Bowl? Like, is that what he's talking
yeah,
about? Like,
yeah.
wow. Okay.
They're talking like gladiatorial combat. 100%.
Wow.
Yes,
All right.
yeah.
Cool.
You do. It kind of depends on the culture of the house whether or not it's popular there.
Absolutely.
However, they 100% exist, and there's ones with like all the way from like non-augmented regular fighting, which is probably the least popular now. Then you have like augmented MMA combat, which is much more popular,
Yep.
right? Because
Yep.
it's more exciting, more things are going to happen.
Yep.
And then all the way up to exosuits, modified exosuits going in there and duking it out.
Wow. Okay. The exo. So we're talking. What's it? What was that show way back in the day? The robot. Um, the robot competition where they build the robots and then they put them in.
Oh
But it's
yeah,
like, yeah.
yeah,
But it's like,
absolutely.
but it's that with the exosuits, and it's just
Exosuits,
like,
yeah,
oh,
and I mean
dude, that's so cool.
it can be lethal because there's a person in there, so
Yes.
there's
Yes.
risk.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 100%. And a little mention again, dueling is legal in the realm too. So you still do have some dueling activity,
So you walk
right?
up to you're walking down the street and the big guy like shoulders you and he's like, "Whoa, fisticuffs!" Right? And then you're like, "Sir," pull. I take my glove off, and then you duel in
You
the middle of the
you
street.
it depends on the house, how formalized it is.
Sure,
Like
sure. Okay.
in House DeArgento, you have to pay a fee, right?
Oh, dang. All right, all right.
Yeah. And usually, duels are broadcast.
So you literally have to put your money where your mouth is. Then
Yeah, I
I
mean,
like that. I like
you
that.
really, and yeah, it just depends on how formalized it is, and, and whether or not it's popular. Like House of Wusu, not very big in dueling, very rare,
Okay.
right? But like
So it's
House Ahmed, common,
whoa, interesting. Okay,
and
okay.
much more regimented and formalized. Like, is this just a martial combat duel? Is this going to
Right.
involve weapons? Are we both exosuit pilots? We're going to get in the exosuits and go duke it out.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
So that happens. Corvid, where does each faction call fall on the Kardashev scale? Um, that's a great question.
What is the Kardashev scale?
That is a scale of it's three parts. Part one is utilizing the complete energy potential of a planet. Part two is using the complete energy potential of a star. Third is using the complete energy potential of a galaxy.
Wow. Okay.
It's quite an escalation.
I didn't know that. Yeah, that is quite an escalation.
Yeah, I would say that if we're being, it depends on how honest we're being, right? Because utilizing the
Okay.
complete energy potential of a planet is very difficult. I don't think any faction falls on any of the scale. If we're being honest, like I don't even think the Nightfall aren't interested in harvesting a worlds for its energy.
Yep.
They produce their own energy, so they don't care. The Hexagoda do care, but they don't completely harvest a world's potential for its energy. They don't coat its atmosphere in solar capturing and gas capturing items. Like they're not transforming the world into a living lung.
Sure.
They they capture a lot of bioenergy. They capture a lot of solar energy, a lot of chemical energy, but they're not getting the potential off that. Um, and then the realm, no, and the Botra, no, and the Botra wouldn't even be interested, no. So I'd
Yep.
say no. I would think that the progenitors were the closest to maybe like a 2.5.
Okay.
Like they could completely capture a world's potential if they wanted to.
Sure.
They built galaxy spanning things, so yeah.
So they have that a bit. They have that capability.
Well, yeah, they were quite powerful um, back in their day. Thornhide says, "What is the population of the smallest Batra clan, and what is the population of the largest Batra clan?" Yeah, population is interesting. So I don't know that I would use that word. I would say how many members does the largest have, and that's currently Duchan, and it would be billions, right?
Dang. Okay. So it's like a fairly
And
big sized chunk of the
yeah,
faction
and
or the species, I should say.
a small clan would be millions of people, but a sub clan might be as small as 100, like one
Okay.
clutch,
Right. A single
50 to
clutch member.
100.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Okay.
those sub clans can be pretty tiny. And then we have Thornhide saying, "What are the roles in a Botcher clan? Leader class, worker class, very Minbari,
Similar to
non-combat class."
similar to the Hexagoda, right? Like we got the workers, the warriors, right?
Yeah,
Like okay.
yeah, and so you have clan leadership, and they fulfill, and the Council of Elders is the biggest of those. They're the
Okay.
council that oversees the big clans, and then you have
Sure.
clan leadership, which is leading the clans. Um, and every clan kind of does it their own way. It's usually a combination of popularity contest, past meritocracy, past performance, and then um, taking out worthy challengers, both politically and in combat,
Ooh, okay, okay.
to maintain your status, right?
Right.
I mean, you can get outplayed politically in there, and that's
Yes.
just as dangerous an arena as
As
fighting.
yep, as being in war. Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah, and so and then they don't really do a class piece on there. You more have a role. So you're part of a clutch, which is part of a sub clan, which is part of a clan. right? And to be
Okay.
clear and fair, subclans are known for specializations, right? Like some will be like they're very good at a thing and they've passed that knowledge along, and they're good at convincing people in their subclan to do the thing. Like,
Excellent.
oh, this subclan is known for their very fierce warriors. They really drive warriors.
Okay.
So, or this one's really they're excellent at, they're artisans. So,
Got it.
those sorts of
Engineers,
things.
these guys are
Right.
good pilots. Right, right, right. Okay.
Absolutely.
Excellent, excellent. You got a little
There's a little
Hexagoda warrior flying around you
I
right there?
I
Yeah, you
do. It keeps going at me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you could see it. Dang it. No.
Yeah, so I actually have a very interesting question.
Yeah.
So my question was, hexagonas, like their insides, like their blood or like whatever, right? Is more like motor oil. Can they use their own that whatever it is inside of them? If they like, do they sort of like Tyranids? They grab their own dead bodies and like use them for fuel
I mean,
for their
they
machines?
100% could drink it, and it would be a very efficient fuel source.
Interesting. Okay, okay, good to know.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, like, motor oil's not it actually is probably, a good analogy, right?
Okay, it's like the
Because it
closest thing that
is
we have.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
lubricating, it's highly flammable, it stores
Okay.
quite a bit of energy. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I like that. That's probably on point. And those are our questions for this episode. So we have our 9
Perfect.
questions, we've talked about some cool things, and I think we can call it for this one.
Sure,
So,
let's do it.
thanks for everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Have a good one, everybody.
Bye-bye.